Okay, so welcome back to Betide. In this video, we are going to make a EOS voice chat for listen server. But if you are going to make a dedicated server, then too you need to follow this because this will include a few functions which we need to use in the dedicated server video. So the dedicated server setup is the next one. And in this video, we are going to make it for the listen server. And basically, we have two players connected to a single uh, single session, and then they have a session enabled with EOS voice chat where you can like decrease and increase the volume, you can mute players, and you can also change your input and output mode. Now the input and output mode can be made better. I agree with the T array thing, but in here we will use just 0 1 2 3 and select any mic and audio. I don't have a second mic, so I could not test the mic and thing, and it's perfectly working, and it can be shown by the EOS voice chat list feature. So EOS gives you a lot of console features, console command features, which you can use to test EOS and run a few tests with it, and also check what is working and what is not and how is it working. So we run and we get that yeah, a valid user exists, and that means they are connected with voice. So that is it. Now you can start watching, and if you are making a listen server and have not followed the dedicated server video, this video will get a perfect result for you. So yeah, go. And before starting, my first ever request, please consider hitting the subscribe button if this video helps, and I will not take your time. Continue. Okay, so welcome back to the screen. Now let's just get started. So basically the first thing which we need to do is basically because US or EOS voice chat is different to EOS in general. So basically EOS user has to first log in and then access the voice chat facilities. So basically we will now create a function and check if the user is logged in or not, and then based on that we will log in the user into EOS voice chat. That's why you must have seen that on marketplace also the voice plugin and the normal EOS core plugin is different because they come as different plugins. So let's go and create a new function in EOS game instance. So let's create a U property, and okay, so let's make this blueprint callable so that we can, whenever we want, we can register the user. So we can make it
blueprint callable, and we will just give it the category of EOS functions.
and this would be a void type, and make it EOS voice chat login. So now we have the login thing for our voice chat. So let's generate a function for it, generate definition, and we will just first copy the login functionality which we can get from here, this part. So we just, like usual, get the subsystem reference and then get the identity pointer reference, and now make two close brackets, curly braces, and now we will check if the user is logged in. Identity pointer reference. No, we made a function to get the character login status. Yeah, is player logged in? So we will just call this is player logged in. If is player logged in, so this will tell us if the player is logged in or not. And if the player is logged in, we will log in him into the voice channel which we want, and then we will continue the functions like having decreasing and increasing volume and things like that, as we will get the reference of the voice chat. Now before that, before we can call the voice chat functions, we need to add it in the EOS tutorial.build.cs, that is the build.cs file of your project. So here we in the first video we put we've put online subsystem utils. We will just add one more, and this would be voice chat. And now let's get back to our EOS game instance.cpp. And here we also need to now include one more function, sorry, include voice chat.h. Okay, so now it's loaded. And now what we need to do is, after we check if the player is logged in or not, so if it is logged in, then we will get, yeah, that now you can use your functionalities. Or else what we will do is, basically we will create a functionality for the user and log in him into the voice chat. So let's get the iVoice chat and then make a pointer reference and name this voice chat reference, and then we will get the iVoice chat and just get, sorry, and then we will get the voice, then we will create a voice chat user. So I voice chat user, and we will just create a user for this. So maybe we need to use the iVoice chat user reference again and again. So let's do one thing. Let's create it in the EOS game instance.h. So let's create a variable and name this u property voice chat user reference. And now you see that it becomes red because we have not included the include for it. So basically let's include that. So include voice chat.h. So you need to include it in both the .h and cpp. Let me just drag this up here. Okay, so this should be a pointer reference. So let's create a pointer. Now this should be fixed. And here where we created iVoice chat reference, we will just start the player. So we will just call voice chat reference create user. Now this is voice chat user reference, and now we will get the user reference whichever the user has been created. And for this we also need to check, just to prevent crashes in future, we will need to check if the voice chat reference is valid, and if it is valid then only we will just create the user. And whatever we are going to do ahead, we need to verify whether the created user is now valid. So yeah, we are doing a lot of if and else check, but that is required just to prevent any crashes which you are about to get. And then what you need to do is you need to get the voice chat user reference and then just login. And now this login will demand F platform user ID and player name and credentials. Now this is not that normal credential thing. This we are logging into the voice chat thing. So what we can do is, basically we can just create local variables and get the unique ID locally. So we will make a t-shared pointer const f unique ID. Some problem here. F unique, oh sorry, net ID, and then from here user ID reference is equal to identity, and we have, yes, identity pointer reference, and then from here we get the unique player ID of 0, that is the local user. So we have the first value, that is the whatever it demands, that was platform ID. So now we have it, so it's the user ID reference, so you can pass in the first thing. Now what we need next is the player name. So what we can do is we can get the let me just check. Okay, so we made a mistake. Basically, unique user ID should have gone in the username. Firstly, and then we would get the username from here. One more thing which we need to do is we need to make an local FID. So let's make F platform user ID. Something is bugged. Hello, hello, moving mouse. And then we make platform user ID reference. And we name this is equal to identity pointer reference, and from it we get the platform user ID from unique net ID. And now we have a reference of the unique net ID, so we can just pass user ID reference. User ID reference should be passed as an pointer, and then. And here we will now pass platform user ID, and the second value should be the user ID and user ID reference, and we will just get the string to it. And the next thing is what it requires is credentials, so we don't need to pass any credentials here. So let's just make this empty. And with what we need next to pass is f on voice chat login completed delegate. So let's pass in the delegate, or we can add a lambda and pass in, or we can create a u object. So let's create a u object because that's better, and we can even make callbacks depending upon the function. So let's create a function for the callback. Let's go to EOS game instance.h and create void on login complete. And we need to pass in a few things. Firstly is the f string, that is the player name. And then if what was the result, whether the user was able to log in or not. So either you can name on voice login completed. And the second thing you need to pass is f voice chat result. So let's get back. Okay, so here's some problem. It cannot. We have included the voice chat. Let's give it a few minutes. It should work. So for now, let's continue with this, and let's create a function generator definition for this. Generate definition. It's generating an inline definition, so we can just copy this and get here. And after we have this, we will just get the EOS game instance, and then from here we will get the function that is what was it? No, sorry. We will get f on voice chat login complete delegate, and then these, and then we will just create a u object. Then we will pass in this as the parameter, and then the next will be EOS game instance and on voice login completed. So this will wind up the things here, and now we have on voice chat login completed. So let's check something is not missing over here, and one bracket is missing. So now we have completed it. These red things are now gone, and this will return a callback to our this function, that is the voice chat completed, and you can return whether the voice chat was completed or not, or make a call back just to verify that yeah it was. So let's just do one thing. We will just get the result and check if result create error. No, sorry, my rider is not working correctly, looks like. Okay, we can directly check if it is success. And if it is, then we will just success creating voice chat. So now we have a function which will return whether the user was able to successfully create a voice chat or not. And now what we need to do is basically just check if it works or not. And we can also we also need to expose on the create session node whether we want to use voice chats or not. So there must be an option. Next, what we need to do is basically check whether the user is creating a lobby or not. So currently we had be used lobbies to false, and basically if you are using a lobby, the creation of the voice channel is very easy. And in case, because it EOS already gives you an option to automatically create a voice channel. So if you are not using lobbies, then for dedicated servers the method is a bit different, and which we will go to of course. But for now, let's first set up the lobbies thing. So let's use lobbies if possible, and we also do one thing we call session creation info. Now remember, we are doing this in create session option, and you just search for voice, and you will find be use lobbies voice chat if available, and then just press enter and make this to true. So now EOS will automatically try whenever the user logs in to start his or her mic. Now one thing which we need to do is basically control whether the user wants his volume to be 100 or 0, and also if the user wants to keep it mute. So this is still not fixed. Okay, I will look into this, but before that, let's continue with our issue. That is, let's create a void and name this set input voice, or maybe volume would be a better thing. And we will make this u function and blueprint callable and category EOS functions, and we will pass in float new volume. So this will set whatever the input volume you want to make it, and let's create generator definition for it. And then wherever you created that function for the voice channel, let's go to our on EOS voice chat login. Just copy this part till here, and on set input volume, put it here and complete the curly braces for all. And if the voice chat user is valid, you can just set the player volume to a new volume. And remember, you need to pass in the f string player name. And as you know, we created a player name, so we will just get this. And player name is the user ID reference dot to string. And the next is volume. So volume is the new volume which we just passed in. And one more function which we need to create is copy this and mute mic EOS. Let's add EOS here also so that we can easily call it from the blueprints. So just add EOS and now generate definition for this. We can copy this part here also. And in place of set player volume, we will just say set player muted. And you need to pass in the f name and if true or false. So here we don't need to pass in float. We can just pass a boolean and muted. So if the muted is true, then we want to mute the player. So we will just pass in muted. And we also need to correct it here because we don't need a boolean, we need a mute. And this finishes our work here. It has a D there. So yeah, let's just save all. Okay, so removing on the Google says that removing is like the docs say, not the docs, just the people finding problems and their solutions say that removing the U property here fixes the issue, and yeah, it does here. So let's now build and hopefully this should work. So now we need to try to check if we can have basically to change the input and output mode. So let's go and create a new option. So here we will call a u function. Okay, my rider again bugged out. Hope it gets back soon. And yeah, it is. So set input output mode, and here. So we will use this function to set the input and output mode, and we will just generate definition. Whatever inputs we need, we will just set them while we are adding. So now what we need to do is we need to get the voice chat user reference. So we will just drag this part and complete the curly braces. Yeah. So if the void chat user is valid, we will get set voice chat user reference, set input device, and you will have to pass, I believe, yeah, f string input device name. So we will have to pass the input device name, and for that we can get the from the default user we can get input devices, whatever available input devices we have. So we can get, for instance, get voice chat user reference, get available input devices, and then this should return us, yeah. So basically this will return us all the available devices and we have to select one. So let's do one thing. We will just create a integer and here we will write int32 value, and this goes away. And now from here we will get the first value, or maybe we can get the val. And okay, so as you can see, it is so we have to use get available input devices info. So yeah, so we were using wrong, so it should be get available devices input devices info, and then we will get, let me just check if it is a T array. Yeah, it is a T array of f voice chat device info. So let's get 0. Yeah, and you have your display name. So let's do one thing. We can just rename this to well, and yeah, this should work, and this will give us the display name. And okay, so it requires just a device name. So display name should do the job. And let's copy this part and put this here, and we set the input device. Now the same we need to do with the output device. So we will just copy paste this, and from here we will just convert this to get available output devices info, and here set output device, and we need to pass in whatever value we are printing. So let's do one thing. We make a UE log and name this log temp warning text using microphone this, and we will just copy the input device display name, the whole thing, and put this here. Same we will do for the output device using speakers. Yeah, so we can copy this part and replace this, and now we have an input mode also. So one more thing before we go, we need to have this blueprint callable, and so that we can at least call this function from the blueprints. I hope I'm not leaving anything as okay. So now we have 2 players, so let's just play and test it out. And oh, okay, so we forgot one thing. Firstly we need to have something to change, so we have not set anything. So let's go and now basically I'm sure what you can do is basically create a list of that array items and display all the available devices, and let the users decide whichever device they want. But currently we don't have that much time for a video, so that's why we didn't do that. But if you guys have problem, we will certainly do that in future. Okay, so now we have two players now, basically, because this project was made for dedicated servers and now we are running listen servers. So basically, even if we join the session, as you can see now, we have two players joined in a session. We cannot see each other because we are on different levels and level travel fails. So I cannot fix that because I want to create a video on dedicated servers voice chat, but I can show you how this works and even show you that yeah, the voice chat is working. As if we run a command of EOS voice chat list, it lists out all the voice chat channels, and if it would not have been working, it would not do. And yeah, you can check it is valid, and now you have two players. So let's go and check that, like, the code for the voice chat is now enabled. The log says that the server is now accepting player connections. So let me just show you the code. So sorry, the console command is, let me just copy this, and yes. And in the second one, if I put, sorry, the first one has hanged, but in the second one, if I put, so it should come up, and you see, sorry, the screens are different sides, but you can see we have a valid EOS voice chat user. And in the case that we didn't have it, it would not have it, like, it would come out to be zero. So the voice chat has been successfully integrated in your project. If you are using a EOS listen server project, you can now test it with your friends out there, and this will work. And if you are not a dedicated server user, sorry, a listen server user, then the next video, upcoming video, will add the support for dedicated servers. So I believe that is it for this video, and I will meet up in the next one. And thank you.